From the shores of Sharm el-Sheikh, the city of peace, a new chapter begins. Under the steady leadership of President El-Sisi and US President Donald Trump, and with the presence of over 30 world leaders, the Peace Summit unfolds with a singular aim: to end the cycle of pain and usher in a future of stability. This gathering is more than diplomacy. It is a declaration that Egypt remains not just a bridge between nations, but a true land of peace. From the heart of this ancient land, where the desert meets the sea, the region may at last begin to heal from the wounds opened as the war on Gaza began. We welcome you to the Qnews special coverage of the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit, where history is being written and witnessed moment by moment. A press conference that echoed with the weight of history has just concluded in Sharm el-Sheikh. Sitting side by side, the Egyptian President El-Sisi and the US President Donald Trump spoke not just as heads of state, but as architects of what they believe could be a lasting peace in the region. President Trump hailed Egypt's pivotal role, hailing and calling Sisi a powerful leader and a friend, while crediting Cairo with helping secure what he called a once-in-a-lifetime agreement. He emphasized that every country had come around to support the deal, a rare moment of global consensus, and confirmed that Phase 2 has already begun and is underway. President El-Sisi, for his part, praised Trump as the only leader capable of brokering this breakthrough, reaffirming Egypt's commitment to resuming the ceasefire, delivering humanitarian aid, and completing the release of all detainees. He also called for US support in rebuilding and reconstructing Gaza, turning the page from war to recovery. With strong words of mutual respect, both leaders signaled unity and urgency, two elements they hope will carry this fragile agreement beyond the page and into reality. From Sharm el-Sheikh, anticipation continues to build ahead of the opening of the International Peace Summit that is set to begin within hours. In the lead-up to the historic gathering, both Egyptian President El-Sisi and the US President Donald Trump issued strong statements highlighting their shared commitment to making the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement a cornerstone for lasting peace and stability in the region. President El-Sisi said that the agreement represents a decisive moment for the Middle East, a moment where the will for peace has overcome the logic of war. He described the deal as a framework that not only ends years of suffering, but also opens the door to reconstruction, unity, and hope for the Palestinian people. The Egyptian leader stressed that Egypt's role has always been and will remain to safeguard regional stability and defend the rights of all peoples to live in dignity and security. El-Sisi emphasized that the Sharm el-Sheikh summit will mark the beginning of a new stage of international cooperation, bringing together leaders and organizations united by the goal of rebuilding Gaza and preventing a return to conflict. The president reaffirmed that Egypt's diplomacy is driven by a clear vision, one that sees peace as the foundation for sustainable development and prosperity for the entire region. US President Donald Trump, in his remarks before leaving Washington and later reiterated during his visit to Jerusalem, described the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement as a historic milestone that proves peace is possible when nations act with courage and honesty. He said the agreement lays down practical steps to consolidate the ceasefire, guarantee the release of all detainees, and ensure humanitarian access to every corner of Gaza. And for more, we're joined from Cairo by the consultant at Egypt's Command and Staff College, Major General Osama Mahmoud Kabir. Major General, welcome to Q News. How significant is Egypt's role in brokering this agreement and the summit?
Good evening to you. How are you? Yeah, and the Egyptian role play actually that took place since a couple of years ago is praised now by the whole countries all over the globe. As you can understand that when we see like the Israelis have violated the agreements like a couple of times ago, but we kept our diplomacy like strengthening everyone here and to come to the table and start talking about negotiations as it's the only way to terminate this war and to cease fire. However, finally, we have the American administration, Donald Trump himself, is at Sharm el-Sheikh today. It's a city of peace that will deserve a name for that city. And now he's praising now the efforts, the Egyptian efforts now. He's praising that, and he said unless Egypt is on the picture, nothing would happen, nothing would take place. We wouldn't get to that agreement, we wouldn't get to that part of peace finally. Now he's now stressing that we are in the first phase, about to finish it. Now he's moving the second phase, as I understand from his speech a few minutes ago. Now Donald Trump is very happy that he is finally conducting this issue by the cooperation with the Egyptian leadership of President El-Sisi. And let's see what will happen in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Well, President Trump actually described the deal as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How do you read this statement? Does that mean that this is truly a one-of-a-kind deal? We will not be witnessing another deal coming up within a few months or in a year or two. Is this truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity?
That's a very good question, actually. You know why? Because this is very sensitive now. It seems like I myself would say, yes, we need to take the chance of this point and in this time specifically, because it seems like you wouldn't be able to regather all these counterparts again one more time if, God forbid, something happened. So once in a life opportunity, it's like it's a high scale now. That would take a high scale within the thermometer of the whole process. But however, like as the American would say, there will always be a chance. So hopefully it's one in a life opportunity, and if something else happened that we are not like pretty much ready to receive that, hopefully we can come over that again and start to gathering the ropes and to make ends meet, because the Middle East now, I think is not ready to receive another shock like what happened a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Major General Kabir, now as we are witnessing, this is some live footage from Sharm el-Sheikh where President Trump is standing in front of the summit's banner, and he's welcoming some of the 30 or 35 leaders and heads of states of the major countries, the states and the international institutions that are participating in this once-in-a-lifetime agreement. Shaking hands, taking photos with every single leader. And earlier, Major General Kabir, President Trump said that he was asked during his brief press conference with President Sisi whether phase 2 will be starting soon, and he stated that phase 2 of the agreement is already underway and it has begun. Now, what does this phase include exactly? How might it shape Gaza's immediate future and the reconstruction? Major General Kabir, can you hear me, sir?
I do hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Well, I was asking if President Trump stated that phase 2 of the agreement has already begun. It is underway. What does it entail, the second phase of the agreement? What does it include exactly, and how might it shape Gaza's immediate future and the reconstruction and recovery plans?
All right. As I understand from the Donald Trump plan, points and aspects, phase 2 actually start that the idea for pull down to the red line, which means that it will be something, occupying something around, how about 42% from the Gaza Strip, full scale. And in this phase 2, actually, we would see that the Hamas would start like to release its weapons. I mean, to submit its weapons to a neighboring country. Maybe they didn't actually assign that up till now, but that's what we will see, because that's why we say that phase 2 is the most sensitive step that we need to pass through. So it's pulling down by the IDF to the red line. So now he's keeping around 53 when he goes to the red line, 53%, and Hamas starts to deliver the weapons to such country, neighboring country. You will never know until they start speaking about that. And right after that, they start like searching for the other corpses, dead corpses of the Israeli IDF. That because they can't find them now, I understand there is some Turkish team or something is taking care of that, like helping in finding out these corpses. And I would say that the phase 2 would take a little bit much longer time of what happened in phase 1.
Mm-hmm. Well, Trump mentioned and he stated that the U.S. will be standing with President El-Sisi until the end. What do you make of this statement, and could this signal a shift in regional alliances or U.S. policy for the near future?
Yes, first of all, Trump said that. I understand. Why did he say that? Because the United States of America actually is the only one who's able enough to impose leverage on the Israeli right-wing government. As you can understand, they broke it before, like nine months ago. They broke the agreement, and they didn't punish them. However, they could recognize finally that the IDF is not able enough, is not strong enough to finish this war. That's why they imposed the leverage on Netanyahu. And to impose your leverage on Netanyahu, you need to help President El-Sisi, to help the Egyptian leadership for the continuing of this issue, for this process. It's very sensitive. It's like a surgery now. Whether you go out with it for the right way or it might collapse, God forbid, if something wrong happens, specifically from the government of Israel. Mm-hmm. So that's why he will stand along with the Egyptian leadership to make sure that no mistakes will take place in the near future.
Yes, well, you've mentioned it, that how credible are the pledges of the long-term cooperation, especially given previous failed ceasefires and broken negotiations?
Say again, please, I couldn't hear you that.
How credible are these long-term pledges given the previous failed ceasefires and broken negotiations?
I'm not sure. You know why? Because it's the uncertainty now about taking the strategic assistance. It's very vulnerable in the meantime. So if we could go a little bit by bit, step by step, point by point, and to make sure that everyone is stuck to the agreement and no one would violate that, because you cannot give such definite time now, or you can put a timeliner for that. It's very complicated. It's very perplexing, by the way. That's why let's see and see what will happen. Mm-hmm. I could say this is an early question now.
Major General Kabir, Trump repeatedly praised President El-Sisi's leadership, calling it very good and great, and he alluded to when he first got to know President El-Sisi during his first term. How does this reflect on a deeper strategic alliance between both countries and both leaders?
First of all, it reflects the respect from the United States to the Egyptian leadership. They understand and they know it very well that the Egyptians are very efficient and proficient and competent enough to deal with the Israelis. We fought against them something like 52 years ago. And we went to agreements with them, and we keep that agreement, so we know how to negotiate with the Israelis. And Egypt to Palestine is not an elder sister; it's the mother of Palestine. We are taking responsibility of this issue since 78 years ago. So that shows, and that actually reflects a good respect from the United States administration to the Egyptian leadership. Secondly, we are the strongest, robust, and the most toughest pillar in the Middle East that we can take with something like that, because Palestine is a strategic to Egypt as well as Israel, and any wrong action that takes place in the near future might turn on the whole area to a full. And we wouldn't say a full destruction. It would be something like another disaster that nobody needs actually to meet that. Not even the United States of America.
Mm-hmm. Well, on his part, President El-Sisi praised Trump as the only leader capable of delivering the Gaza agreement. What message is he sending then to the international community with that statement?
He's sending the message to Donald Trump himself first, because don't leave this thing. Keep up your momentum. Keep pushing on the Israelis. Make sure that they will be committed to this new agreement, and to the national community, actually, because they have relations with the United States of America as well. And from that standoff point, now Europe actually is suffering from they have demonstrations in the streets. You got some places and some areas, and in Italy, they have announced the general strike. Everyone now, Europe and the United States actually is totally affected now by what's happening in Palestine. So Sisi now is trying to urge Trump to stay in line with us, not to give up this thing, whatever happens. And he's urging also the European Union to push on Trump as well, because they have their mutual beneficial relations, so we can use the Europeans in that. That's diplomacy. That I would say the Egyptian diplomacy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is the significance then of President El-Sisi explicitly stating that the ceasefire should resume, the detainees should be released, and aid must be delivered? Is he setting conditions for continued cooperation? Does that signal some concern from President El-Sisi?
Yes. I mean, besides the Egyptians and Qataris now are very embedded and involved in that. President El-Sisi now is doing his best efforts, actually, trying to save the whole situation, trying to get as much good as could get with him. He understands totally how that thing would be pretty much dangerous if other things like happen, if other violations being committed by some of the counterparts. Now the Egyptian leadership actually is keening, and let's see, not only keening is very willing and keening, and the assertiveness of the Egyptian leadership now is to get out with this trap. I mean. Mm-hmm. If we couldn't have the Americans beside us and the European Union as well, that would be dangerous, like in the very near future. So now we are seeing like Donald Trump is taking pictures with the leaders. Yes, why not? How could they meet? Like we have something like more than 31 VIP. Like from diplomats, we have kings, we have presidents, we have the ministers of foreign affairs from all over the globe, and we have the head of the United States of America. That's a great point in the time and in the place. Let's invest in that. Let's develop that. Let's make sure that we are not retreating back. No setbacks. It's not allowed. That's the way I think that now all the brainstorming like responsibles are trying to do. Let's invest on this very, very important and very decisive point that we reached to today.
Yes, Major General Osama Mahmoud Kabir from Cairo, the consultant of Egypt's Command and Staff College. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on Q News. From the coastline of Sharm el-Sheikh, a delicate hope begins to take shape, carried in handshakes, echoed in carefully chosen words. As the summit takes place and the world watches what comes next, the road to peace glimmers with promise. Stay with us here on Qnews as the story continues to unfold step by step, line by line, shot by shot, as peace begins to find its voice. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates here on Qnews.